Hi everybody, thanks for checking in today. We are talking about grains, or rather the elimination of grains and how that affects the thyroid gland. So this is the 5th phase that I've completed in the Hormone Reset Diet, and according to Dr. Sarah in her book, The Hormone Reset Diet, everybody that struggles with weight has some kind of an issue with grains, particularly gluten. That was a surprise for me to learn because I just thought that gluten was the kind of trigger point for so many people, but it turns out it's all grains. And the reason for that is because they're very high on the glycemic index, meaning as soon as you eat them, they start to raise your blood sugar levels, which induces cravings, keeps us in a fat storage cycle, and it also contributes to inflammation. And inflammation is key to any kind of pain or disease. Inflammation feeds both of those things highly, so eliminating the grains eliminates a constant state of inflammation in the body and reduces the pain, which is pretty spectacular. So what I noticed for me in the elimination of grains was actually pretty significant. So, going through this plan, like I've had a couple little things here and there that I've noticed in the elimination of all the foods that I've done so far, but this one was by far the biggest, had the biggest effect for me. And I didn't notice anything the first 2 days, but on the 3rd day, I noticed my bloating was reduced by, I'm going to say, more than half. And what's really interesting about that is I didn't even know I was bloated. I had no idea I had a reaction to grains, because as far as I know, I don't have a sensitivity to gluten. I never had the typical issues that you hear about with those kinds of sensitivities, but it turns out I do. This was hidden from my understanding or my view, so that was really cool. I was very excited about that. I also noticed my cravings were really increased. I had way more sugar cravings through the first 2 days of this elimination, even more so than I had eliminating sugars, which was very interesting. I wasn't expecting that, but got through it. And here's one of the tips I can give you that helped me get through it is sweet potatoes. Different from yams, so the white sweet potatoes, even though they're sweet, they don't break down as quickly, probably because of the fiber content in them. So what I did was I would just peel one and cut it into rounds so that, there may be, 1/4 or 1/2 inch thick. Toss them in a little olive oil and seasonings, put them on a piece of parchment paper on a baking tray and bake them for 20 minutes at 375 or 400. They're absolutely delicious. You feel like you've had a piece of bread. They're great with a poached egg or a fried egg on top of them. They're great cut up warm in salads or even just as a side dish. Really, really great. So try those out if you haven't already. And another point I wanted to make about grains, we've been taught about, that's where you get your fiber from, and I don't even know what the food pyramid guide says, but it's something like 5 to 6 servings of grains a day. In reading the information from Sarah's book, she was talking about how in the 80s, I don't know if you're old enough to remember the 80s, but I certainly am, the days of leg warmers and headbands and aerobics, and that's also when all the fat-free products hit the market. So fat-free yogurt and skim milk and salad dressings, everything was fat-free. Grains really made a big impact on the market. So bagels were huge, whole wheat grains in breads, oat bran, all that. And what the statistics show is that in the 20 years since that, the rate of diabetes in the United States has tripled in 20 years because of the increase in grains, because of the high glycemic index or reaction that it has. So just something to note. So if you're not considering eliminating all grains, consider eliminating a few and just see how you feel. I've found it to be really great. And what's going to be interesting is later on when I get into the reintroduction of foods, it'll be interesting to see how I react then, having been off of them for several days. So anyways, I think that's all I was going to share with you today. Hope you're having a great day and looking forward to checking in with you tomorrow. Thanks. Bye.